Edge at 11 starts now.
Tonight on The Edge, it's not often a Netflix documentary gets its start in Farmington Hills.
But one of its new hit series focuses on a suspected cult that started right here in Southeast Michigan. Fox News' Jessica Dupnack tells us why it was brought to police, but no charges were ever filed.
We went and did some door knocking in their neighborhood here in Farmington Hills. The folks we talked to off camera said that the couple was always known as the weird couple on the block, but they had no idea it went this deep. It's top 10 on Netflix, most popular. The documentary Escaping Twin Flames streamed 4.1 million times this week.
He took my child. He twisted her memories, her mind.
It spotlights a so-called cult that started here in Farmington Hills.
I felt like I didn't recognize myself.
We were forced to change so much about ourselves.
Centers around Jeff and Shalia Ayen, leaders of Twin Flames Universe, promising to help find your soulmate for a price. Classes up to $9,000.
Hi, I'm Shalia.
And I'm Jeff.
The couple lived on Fleetwood Drive, a neighborhood off 13 Mile in Halstead.
What if my twin flame is married?
Twin Flames Universe under scrutiny as it ramped up its spiritual affiliation, promising healing powers. Jeff even calling himself the second coming of Christ. Family members whose loved ones are members say they're brainwashed, forced into labor, endure verbal abuse, even encouraged to have gender affirmation surgery in some cases.
Many police departments may have discounted this and not looked into this seriously. We took it seriously.
In 2020, Farmington Hills police got a call from a mother in Australia whose daughter was a member. It launched an investigation leading them to the couple's house. They talked at length with a cooperative Jeff and the members who were living there doing chores at the time.
We talked to several individuals that were part of the organization that day inside the house. Everyone was there of their own free will. Everyone was a willing participant in the programs that they were paying for.
Detectives determining they were operating not a pyramid scheme, but a multi-level marketing operation.
We're not going to comment on whether this is right, wrong, or immoral. We're looking at a criminal aspect only, and at this time there's no crime that occurred in the state of Michigan.
Then the investigation was handed over to the FBI. It's unclear what the status is there. Chief Jeff King says if they get new evidence, they'll follow it. A statement from Jeff and Shalia on their website says in part, "We are saddened that so much effort has gone into taking swipes at an organization and community founded on love and mutual respect." At the end of the documentary, it teases that the couple was going to buy some property, a big home in northern Michigan, so all their friends could come live with them. Well, apparently we did find out they did buy some property, a beautiful home in Suttons Bay. They are no longer residents here in Farmington Hills. Jessica Dupnack on The Edge.
Also on The Edge tonight, part 2 of my special report. At 10, we showed you some of the disturbing surveillance videos capturing rogue security officers at the Detroit RenCen and their apparent race-based violent behavior. For years, Security Supervisor Robert Barnes filed complaints with everyone from management to state agencies, but nothing ever happened. I will reveal why, and the state agency that now admits to dropping the ball.
This has got to stop. People have to come forward. Someone's going to get killed, and I speak from my professional aspect, not my emotions in this.
As a supervisor who is tasked with training and assessing use of force, Barnes knew something drastic had to be done, especially after seeing this, the horrific attack of a 61-year-old homeless woman.
You're vulnerable if you're homeless, if you're a stranger off the street, if you're a juvenile. You are vulnerable. Who are you going to tell? Who's going to believe you over me?
Watch the 61-year-old, who is scared to reveal her name, walk across the RenCen to get her bike and go. We're told she had permission to be inside to escape the rain, but apparently it didn't stop this security officer who confronts her. The video shows they speak for about a minute until she reaches for her bike to leave. The officer blocks her with his arm, and moments later he attacks, slamming her against the wall and on the ground, punching her in the face and head over and over again, violently restraining her. But why?
This incident was buried. No meeting was held. We didn't go over anything. And this was brutal. I've worked here 32 years. I've never seen a 60-year-old white woman beaten
Security police arrested her, kept her in the building's basement cell before she was sent to the hospital, but never charged.
And has anything been done
Absolutely
about this
nothing.
woman? Any officer or any of the security guards, have they been disciplined? Are they still on the job?
Yes.
Were they disciplined?
No.
Whenever Barnes filed complaints demanding something be done, he claims he was ignored and retaliated against. Even more troubling is when Barnes tells us he was told to delete the surveillance videos, evidence of what really happened. It's also why he is now a whistleblower in a class action lawsuit.
These are such clear displays of abuse of authority, excessive force, violations of constitutional rights. People are being assaulted. These officers should be in jail. They should have their license pulled. But there's no transparency and people don't know about it.
No transparency because the security company basically owns the company it serves. A GM corporation ultimately in charge of the security police officers at the RenCen, which is GM's global headquarters. I did some digging and learned GM's Riverfront Holdings, that develops properties along the Riverwalk, owns 9% of the RenCen Center Management Company, the same company that holds the security police license. And guess what? Allied Universal Security owns 91% of the General Motors subsidiary. That corporation, RenCen Center Management Company. The connection is about as confusing as trying to find your way around the RenCen. But all roads lead back to the client, and that's General Motors.
They've moved from doing illegal activity to being a public safety threat. So, yeah, I'm continuing on to, no one else wants to, but I'll continue on to do my duty.
And we've learned the only reason RenCen Center Management Company was created was to obtain a state license under Public Act 330, which basically gives a regular security guard much more power. And court documents reveal the state-mandated license is registered under one person, GM employee Gregory Jenkins. He claims it's not his job to deal with complaints or compliance, but he also admits his only job is to renew the license every 3 years. How does that work?
We've tried calling him multiple times. He's the one that holds the license for the RenCen Center Management Company, and we need to speak with him. So,
Jenkins ignored our attempts to speak to him, just like he apparently ignored the actions of the security police officers over the last decade, which means MCOLS, the state law enforcement commission in charge of issuing the license and regulating the security police with the sole power of revoking its license, had no idea either.
as the director, though, of MCOLS, is that concerning to you?
Of course it is, and which is why we're investigating it.
Now they are 18 months after Mr. Barnes filed his first complaint with MCOLS. Barnes detailed compliance violations, alleged racial profiling, discrimination, and excessive force used against innocent civilians. But MCOLS didn't address it. Not until I reached out to the executive director, Tim Burgess.
What happened to that complaint?
Yes, very unfortunate. Mr. Barnes did send us an email in May of 2022, and for a variety of reasons, that email was never acted on, and we own that 100%.
Barnes even followed up in July, checking the status of the complaint, but that was ignored too.
We researched and looked back and saw that we had received that, and so we picked the matter back up. We contacted Mr. Barnes, and then we contacted the state police.
Burgess tells me Michigan State Police is now in charge of investigating the alleged criminal activity, and MCOLS will wait for the results before deciding whether to revoke the license registered to RCMC under Jenkins.
Did MCOLS do what it needed to do? Because with any license, it needs to be maintained, and questions have to be asked. And to make sure that a company is running the way it was licensed to do, is MCOLS responsible for any of this?
You know, we always bear responsibility for enforcing the act. But when someone comes to us and says, here's all the paperwork, and on the face of it, it is appropriate, we have to accept that. There's a limited number of people that work at MCOs.
So who is keeping tabs on the security police officers to make sure they are not abusing their authority? Remember, former GS4 Security Director Larry Payne is the one who first relayed the order to be more aggressive with the 211s or, quote, undesirables. And even when Allied Universal took over and Payne retired, successor Michael Baldwin Jr. is accused of allowing the rogue officers abuse their power and then helping to cover it up.
The fact that it's still continuing with all these eyes on them is unconscionable. The public needs to know so that they can protect themselves.
Despite it all, Barnes still shows up for work every day. He refuses to give up because he says lives are at stake.
Regardless of his corruption, these are still people that we are responsible for, all of them. Black, white, it doesn't matter. We're still responsible for them. And now I have literally an opposing force abusing that authority and those persons. I can't walk away from that.
After several attempts, none of the security directors from RenCen Center Management would talk about what happened. And although we detailed allegations as recent as August of this year, the security company Allied Universal responded with this, quote, Allied Universal is dedicated to the safety of its team members, its clients, their customers, and the public. The incidents occurred approximately 3 years ago and prior to Allied Universal's acquisition of G4S. Allied Universal does not comment on allegations that are resolved during private mediation or pending litigation, end quote. And of course, we showed you the documents are the only thing that changed with the security company. That was the name. As far as General Motors, the corporation issued this very brief statement. While we are not able to comment on the specifics of the incident cited, GM has zero tolerance for harassment or discrimination in any form, end quote. And because of our story, Michigan State Police is now investigating the alleged crimes. There are also 3 civil suits filed against the security companies and General Motors.
I'm meteorologist Rick Schluben. Another mild day for us today, but changes on the way as a cold front approaches from the west. We'll see a few showers before we get to sunrise and then take a peek at what's coming up next. Some showers tomorrow, colder for the weekend. We'll check that Thanksgiving forecast after the break.